Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our reading of Friedrich Nietzsche's The Spoke Zarathustra book. It is quite nerdy, quite niche, sassy, and entertaining. We were in the section titled On the Virtuous. Okay, so we'll continue there. Let's see what shenanigans he gets into now. Let's begin. Bismillah. Slack and sleeping senses must be addressed with thunder and heavenly fireworks. So, slacking and sleeping senses. So, slacking senses, sleeping senses. The sort of dullness to be shocked, awakened. But the voice of beauty speaks gently. It creeps only into the most awakened souls. The voice of beauty speaks gently. I wonder if you took some of these really catty women and then brought that up to them, who find themselves to be tens, what would they say? Gently trembled and laughed my shield today. That is the holy laughter and tremor of beauty. About you, the virtuous, my beauty laughed today. And thus its voice came to me. They still want to be paid. You who are virtuous still want to be paid. Do you want rewards for virtue, and heaven for earth, and the eternal for your today? Ooh, that's mean. I mean, why not reward the virtuous? And now are you angry with me because I teach that there is no reward and paymaster? Ooh, that there's no reward, no paymaster. And verily I do not even teach that virtue is its own reward. So he's like, there's no paymaster, no reward for you, and there's not even that, it's not even a reward in and of itself. Talk about a little bit cynical. Alas, that is my sorrow. They have lied reward and punishment into the foundation of things, and now also into the foundations of your souls. You who are virtuous, but like the boar's snout, my word shall tear open the foundation of your souls. A plowshare will I be to you. So a plowshare kind of really splits in the snout of a pig when it shovels, looking for truffles. Moves things, disturbs the ground, makes indentations. All the secrets of your foundation shall come to light. And when you lie uprooted and broken in the sun, then will your lies also be separated from your truths. For this is the truth. You are too pure for the filth of the words, revenge, punishment, reward, retribution. Hold up here. So too pure for the rewards. Putting rewards in a category where it's mentioned as filth. You love your virtue as a mother her child. But when has a mother ever wished to be paid for her love? Your virtue is what is dearest to you. The thirst of the ring lives in you. Every ring strives and turns to reach itself again. And like a dying star is every work of your virtue. Its light is always still on its way, and it wonders. And when will it no longer be on its way? Thus the light of your virtue is still on its way, even when the work has been done, though it be forgotten and dead. The ray of its light still lives and wonders, that your virtue is yourself and not something foreign, a skin, a cloak. That is the truth, from the foundation of your souls, you who are virtuous, so that your virtue is yourself and not something foreign. A skin. Now notice this, when he's like a skin, something can be peeled off, right? So it has to be more than just surface level, right, is what he's getting at. A cloak, something that can be taken on and off once it's dawned on you. It adorns you, but it isn't you. So he wants it not just to be an accessory, something that is deep within the bones. It can't be separated from who you are. Yet there are those for whom virtue is the spasm under the scourge, and you have listened to their clamor too much. And there are others who call it virtue when their vices grow lazy, and when their hatred and jealousy stretches their limbs for once, then their justice comes to life and rubs its sleepy eyes. Virtue when the vices grow lazy. So their vices have tired out, withered out for a moment, and now all of a sudden virtue is spoken of. And that what really prompts them to life is hatred and jealousy. And now all of a sudden their hatred and jealousy is making them think of justice. And there are others who are drawn downward. Their devils draw them, but the more they sink, the more fervently glow their eyes, and their lust for their God. Alas, their clamor too has reached your ears, you who are virtuous. What am I? What I am not, that to me are God and virtue. And there are others who come along, heavy and creaking like carts, carrying stones downhill. They talk much of dignity and virtue. They call their break virtue. And there are others who are like cheap clocks that must be wound. They tick, and they want the tick-tock to be called virtue. Ooh, cheap clocks that want to be wound. And you wind them, and then they make the sound. But if you don't wind them, they ain't gonna make it. So who's turning it? Verily I have my pleasure in these. Wherever I find such clocks, I shall wind and wound them with my mockery. So it stirs them, what gets them going, what gets them ticking, and they shall whir for me. And others are proud of their handful of justice, and commit outrages against all things for its sake, till the world is drowned in their injustice. Oh, how ill the world virtue comes out of their mouths. And when they say, I am just, it always sounds like, I am just revenged. With their virtue they want to scratch out the eyes of their enemies, and they exalt themselves only to humble others. Notice this, with their virtue, they want to scratch out the eyes of their enemies. I mean, conquering your enemies, what's wrong with that? And then they exalt themselves only to humble others. I mean, I get that. I get totally what he's saying. You don't want to be braggadocious or flippantly flagrant in how you bombastically represent yourself. But sometimes people gotta be put in their place, put to scale. And then again are such as sit in their swamp and speak thus out of the reeds. The swamp imagery here. Sitting in their swamp. Virtue that is sitting still in a swamp. We bite no one and avoid those who want to bite. And in all things we hold the opinion that is given to us. Ooh. Sitting in your swamp, speaking out of the reeds. Virtue, that is sitting still in a swamp. We bite no one and avoid those who want to bite. In all things we hold the opinion that is given to us. Avoid those that want to bite you. You think about it on a deeper level. There's a lot of pests. You want to make sure you see the water. A lot of gators and going through there. Tons of mosquitoes and funny looking things. And then again, there are such as love gestures, and think that virtue is some kind of gesture. Ooh, they think that virtue is some kind of gesture. Their knees always adore, and their hands are hymns to virtue, but their heart knows nothing about it. And then again, there are such as consider it virtue to say, virtue is necessary, but at bottom, they believe only that the police is necessary. And some who cannot see what is high in man call it virtue, that they see all too closely that is low in man. Thus they call their evil eye virtue. Ooh, they call their evil eye virtue. Now that is a saucy comment, because it really rings true. Oh, that's a difficult one to grapple with if you think about it. Sometimes you can be evil-eyeing something, and then you recognize the virtue in yourself because you recognize how their behavior is contrary to virtue, and that you don't do it. But sometimes the evil eye can make you envious and jealous, and kind of make you wake up, as he mentioned. Remember how he said, then their justice comes to life and rubs its sleepy eyes, when their hatred and jealousy stretches their limbs for once. So, the evil eye can kind of do that, in a way, where it spurs you to, like, examine things. But virtue can be observed with normal eyes and with the evil eye, but you don't want to reside within that prying, condescending glance. And some want to be edified and elevated, and they call that virtue. Now that's true, but it's such a difficult thing because the virtuous should, in a way, be edified and elevated, right? But the kicker here is being sincere. While others want to be bowled over, and they call that virtue too. He also points out how others, they just want to be kind of carpets for others to walk and tread on. To be pushed here, be pushed there, very passive, and they see that as a virtue. So those who are put down in a lowly place want to be seen as virtuous, and those that excel want to be put on a pedestal. He's really hitting at both ends of the candle here, and thus almost all believe that they have a share in virtue. And at the very least, everyone wants to be an expert on good and evil. That's true. I mean, it's part of our life, isn't it? Yet Zarathustra did not come to say, all these liars and fools, what do you know of virtue? What could you know of virtue? Rather that you, my friends, might grow weary of the old words you have learned from the fools and liars, weary of the words reward, retribution, punishment, and revenge and justice. Why, though? Why should we become weary of retribution and rewards? Punishment, I mean. Weary of saying what makes an act good is that it is unselfish. Ooh, yeah, that's spicy. Because an act can be good even if it is a bit selfish. Self-preservation. Right? When you're on an airplane and it's like shaking and about to crash, they tell you you need to put your mask on first before you go and help others. Now, if you're gonna put theirs on first, at the expense of your own, you may lose your life. You saved theirs, but you may need to make that choice. Help yourself first, then help them, or help them first and then help yourself last. It's a very, very interesting thing. If you're a mom, you'll rush to help your child put their mask on. But if you don't put your mask on right away, and you die, then your child doesn't have you to help them. O my friends, that yourself be in your deed, as the mother is in her child. Let that be your word concerning virtue. Verily, I may have taken 100 words from you, and the dearest toys of your virtue, and now you are angry with me, as children are angry. They play by the sea, and a wave came and carried off their toy to the depths. Now they are crying, but the same wave shall bring them new toys, and shower new colorful shells before them. Thus they will be comforted, and like them you too, my friends, shall have your comfortings, and new colorful shells. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Now this example of the ocean. The tide goes in, the tide goes out. You know, it is a very nifty type of example, because the ocean takes and it gives, doesn't it? Takes a life, sustains life, pushes jellyfish up on the shore you step on, also puts some cool shells, washes up whales so that a whole bunch of birds can eat it. It's interesting, isn't it? Mashallah tabarakallah. Comfortings. You're stranded, the tide brings you in, washes you ashore. But if you're in a rip tide, it takes you out. What do you think, fam? Very unique reading, I must say. Hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Hope to see you there.